Young man, your project defense starts now. This is a one-man panel. I will be the one to assess your performance and ask you all the other relevant questions. So, go ahead and begin your project defense.
Good day, Professor Ogbologbo. My name is Victor Isibo of the Animal Science Department, and the title of my project work is Snail Farming in Nigeria. I'll go ahead and tell you about snails. Snail rearing is called heliculture. Snails are hermaphrodites, meaning that they have both male and female reproductive organs. Now, what are some of the breeds of snails available in Nigeria? We have the milk snail, that is the Otala lacteal. We have the white garden snail, which is the Cornu aspersum. We have the Burgundy snail, which is the Helix pomatia. And the most popular one, my personal favorite, which I always advise people to breed, is called the African giant. The scientific name is the Achatina achatina, which is the best due to its prolificacy and economic size. Now, let's talk about the housing. The size of the farm determines the housing style and sizes. Housing style determines the comfort of the snail. For commercial farming, it's required you acquire a permanent farmland. Snail can be reared in boxes made of suitable substances like wire gauze, net, and wood. There are different designs depending on the snail's stage of development and habits. Some people can even improvise. I have seen cases where people use car tires stacked on one another and they rear their snails there after covering it with a net. You sort your snails by age into newly hatched, young, and mature snails. Younger snails require more comfortable housing protected against predators. Snails thrive in dark and humid places. Hence, avoid direct sunlight and heat. Snails should be wetted at morning and night to regulate their temperature. To avoid dehydration, the pen location should be at an environment that is protected from the wind. So every morning and night, you pour water on your snails. You sprinkle water on them to avoid dehydration. Now, let me talk about the soil type that is required for snails to thrive. The snail's major habitat is the soil. It contains some components and chemical substances that it needs to survive. The soil type should be rich and contain high level of organic matter. The suitable soil for snail farming is sandy, loamy soil with low water holding capacity. Soil must be balanced, not waterlogged, because the snail also lays its eggs and drinks water out of the soil. However, I must quickly add that even though loamy soil is advantageous to snails because it provides them with certain nutrients, it also exposes them to ants which predate on them, leading to high mortality and death rates of these snails. So you see some people are now practicing what they call soilless snail rearing. Okay, where people use dry leaves as the base or as the flooring for their snail pens. Some people even go ahead to heat up or fry the soil base to kill off the ants before use. That would also kill off all potential nutrients in the soil as well. But soilless snail farming, you record lesser deaths of your snails than when you use the normal loamy soil. Okay? Of course, let us talk about feeding. Okay? What do you feed your snails with? Now, you feed them early in the morning and later at night. And also you provide drinking water. Common feeds include fruits and vegetables like banana, watermelon, cabbage, carrot, pawpaw, lettuce, cucumber, potato, pumpkin, plantain, etc. Snails also feed on green leaves and human crumbs that have no salt. No salt, please. They need calcium to grow shells, and therefore eggshells and limestones can be grinded and added as part of their diet. Water leaves, cocoyam, pawpaw, okra, cassava, eggplant, cabbage, lettuce, and banana leaves are also ideal. Generally, leftovers at home, such as rice, beans, pap, corn, staples, and other foods, provided they don't contain salt, can also be fed to the snails regularly. Calcium is the singular most important factor in feeding of snails. Low calcium intake will slow the growth rate and cause the shells to be thinner and susceptible to cracking. Grind eggshells and serve them at will. It will provide calcium for them. Snails drink a lot of water, and absence of adequate water supply can lead to dehydration and infertility and stunting of the snail's growth. Now, let us talk about pests and diseases that trouble snails. You have termites, lizards, snakes, ants, chicken, geese, and turkeys. These are the most common predators of snails and should be prevented by all means. In overcrowded cages or pens, fungus and bacterial diseases are also rampant. Now let us talk about reproduction. Snails lay eggs between ages 8 and 12 months when they are sexually mature. The fertile eggs hatch between 4 and 6 weeks. Snails don't have a defined breeding period. On average, they lay 5 to 6 clutches of eggs per year, containing an average of 200 eggs per clutch. After hatching, the baby snail stays in the soil for 2 to 5 days. Maturity period is long, about 2 years, but the prolific reproduction nature and high market demand of snail makes it all worth it. New hatching should be put in a separate pen to give them available space to grow. Now let us talk about harvesting. Maturity takes about 2 years. Only mature snails should be harvested. Check the brim of the shell. If it's mature enough, the brim should be thicker and harder than the other parts. However, don't harvest all the mature snails at once. Keep some for breeding and to serve as the base stock. Now, this is the sweet part. This is the money part. I want to talk about the economic value. Snail is an export commodity. It has value close to gold in overseas countries. A foreign exchange earner, that's what snail is. Our climate is one of the best for snail rearing. It requires low capital, but it generates high profits. Its demand is currently higher than its supply. When you walk into any classy restaurant or hotel or bar and you want to eat snail, you must have a lot of money on you. So snail farming is very lucrative in Nigeria. We have the perfect climate and we have a ready market. The demand is very high, trust me. That is the end of my presentation, Prof.
Wow, this is a very brilliant presentation. I score you an A in this project work. You have done very well. You did your research very well, and you were very, very eloquent and articulate. Congratulations, young man.
Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you so much. I believe that with this project work that I have done, I have been able to provide anybody that comes across this material the basic knowledge, the basic rudiments of snail farming. And I hope that I'll be able to inspire so many aspiring agripreneurs to tap into snail rearing and make a lot of money. Thank you very much, Prof.